Rainbow Six Siege has seen a lot of operators introduced over the years, and with so many options to choose from, I know it can be difficult to choose who is right for you. So today I'll be going over the anti-breach operators and rating them in 4 key categories: gadget, versatility, loadout, and secondary gadget. I will then add up their scores at the end of the video to determine the winner. So make sure you watch until the very end to find out who is the best anti-breach operator. Since Mute is the first on the operator list, we will be starting the video off with him. His gadget is the Signal Disruptor. These devices can be placed on the ground and will block any radio transmission in their radii. Some examples of what they can jam are drones, thermite charges, X-Kairos pellets, and pretty much any other gadget that is remotely activated or controlled. Now the jammer's one downside is their radius vertically is very small, meaning that if the attackers have an Ace or Hibana, they can easily avoid mute jammers by deploying their gadgets higher up on the wall. Also, mute jammers are no longer able to cover 2 walls. Their radius is only wide enough to cover 1 reinforcement. This makes his gadget very situational for denying walls. But for denying drones or helping with a bandit trick, they can be quite strong. So his gadget isn't very strong at doing one particular thing, but it can be used in a lot of different situations. I'll be giving him a 6 out of 10 in the gadget category, but since the Signal's disruptors are so versatile, I'll be giving him a 9 out of 10 on versatility. Now to talk about Mute's secondary gadgets. He actually has some great options. At the time of recording, Mute has access to the Nitro Cell and a bulletproof can. The Nitro Cell is one of Siege's strongest secondary gadgets. It allows you to deny the plant, get a free kill, or make it rotate in a pinch. As for the bulletproof cam, it can provide your team with solid intel if you put them in the right places, and its EMP can be used to disable pesky drones trying to enter the bomb site. Since the Nitro Cell is so strong and the bulletproof cam is pretty useful, I'll be giving his secondary gadgets a 9 out of 10. I think his secondary gadget options are near perfect. Now to talk about arguably the most important part of any operator in this meta, that being Mute's loadout. Mute comes equipped with the MP5K submachine gun and the M590 shotgun as primary options, and the SMG-11 and P226 as secondaries. The MP5K is one of my favorite defender primaries right now. It has a high fire rate, and with the extended barrel, its damage is really good. Also, its recoil is super easy to control, making it a really good beginner-friendly weapon. As for the M590, it is one of the best shotguns in the game when it comes to range. Also, it is extremely good at making rotates and head holes, allowing Mute to be really versatile. To go along with his shotgun, Mute can bring the SMG-11 to take longer range gunfights if he needs to. Also, with the recent extended barrel buff, the SMG-11 has gotten a huge damage increase with very little cost on recoil. As for the PT-26, it is a solid pistol with okay damage and capacity, but you're never going to use it over the SMG-11. The SMG-11 will always be the superior choice. Overall, I'll be giving his loadout a 10 out of 10. The SMG-11 and shotgun combo is one of the best primary combos you can run in the game. It provides you with great rotate capability and a high DPS output. Also, the MP5K, like I said, is one of my favorite weapons to use on defense. Now to follow up Mute, I'll be talking about Bandit, the other wall-to-now operator that released with the game. Bandit's gadget is the shock wire. These are batteries that can be attached to reinforce walls to electrify them, and when walls are electrified, any attack or gadgets that are deployed on the wall will be destroyed. Now obviously this is extremely strong on bomb sites where you need to prevent walls from being breached. You can just place them on a wall and then the attackers have to waste EMPs to get rid of them. But the strongest way to use this gadget is in a Bandit trick. This is when Bandit waits for the attackers to deploy their utility on the wall, and then Bandit places his batteries on the same wall, destroying the utility. This requires extreme skill, and it requires near perfect timing, especially if they have a lot of EMPs. But if you can pull it off, you'll single-handedly win your team the round. Because of his gadget's sheer strength, if used properly, I'll be giving it a 9 out of 10. But I do feel that his gadget's versatility isn't great, so I'll be giving him a 7 out of 10 in the versatility category. For his secondary gadgets, Bandit has access to a Nitro Cell just like Mute, and barbed wire. Since Mute and Bandit have very similar secondary gadgets, this is pretty easy to rate. But since I feel barbed wire is slightly more useful than the bulletproof cam, I think Bandit barely makes it to a 10 out of 10 for his secondary gadgets. Now for his loadout. Bandit has the option between the M870 shotgun and the MP7 submachine gun as primaries, and he has only one secondary, that being the P12. The M870 is the best shotgun in the game statistically. It has a fast pump speed, good range, and high damage. It really doesn't have any downsides, but since he doesn't have a secondary submachine gun, you are rarely able to use it. As for the MP7, it is a really good SMG with a high fire rate, solid damage, especially with extended barrel, and low recoil. I definitely think the MP7 is a better option if you want more consistency, but in specific strats, the shotgun can be useful. Now the P12, his secondary, is one of my favorite pistols. It has a high damage and great capacity, but there isn't anything really special about it. So overall, I'll be giving his loadout an 8 out of 10. After Bandit, that leaves us with Kaid. Kaid's gadget is the Electroclaw. These Electroclaws can be thrown onto surfaces and will electrify anything in their radius. This allows Kaid to conceal his Electroclaws in really hard to see spots and in areas that are hard to reach with EMPs. For example, Kaid can throw his Electroclaws on the ceiling below a reinforcement, and it will be able to reach the wall, electrifying it. Also, since his Electroclaws can be thrown, he can electrify hatches. This is huge considering no other operator in the game can do this. Unfortunately, the maps where there are a lot of hatches, he is typically banned, but this ability is still super strong. And just for his gadget's sheer strength and versatility, I'll be giving him a 10 out of 10 in both categories. His gadget's versatility is incredibly strong compared to the other gadgets on this list, and I think his gadget is one of the best in the game. Now for his secondary gadgets, which he has access to the same exact options as Bandit, those being the Nitro Cell and the Barbed Wire. So I'll be giving him a 10 out of 10 on secondary gadgets under the same reasoning as Bandit. Now for Kaid's loadout, he comes equipped with the AUG A3 submachine gun, not to be confused with Wamai's AUG A2, and the TCSG shotgun as primary options. As for his secondary options, he has the choice between the LFP revolver or the 44 Magnum. The AUG A3 with extended barrel is actually pretty solid, but it still isn't the best of the primaries on defense. Its fire rate is slow, especially for a defender, and its damage doesn't make up for it. The TCSG, however, is pretty good. It has a pretty good range since it is a slug shotgun, and it has magnification sights, but its recoil can be a bit hard to control for new players. However, I believe the damage output is worth the trade-off. Both are solid options though. As for secondaries, the LFP is a really high damage secondary, but its capacity is miserable, making it a really difficult secondary to use in a pinch. But the 44 Magnum isn't much better, and on top of that, the 44 Mag has awful recoil with its super zoomed in scope. So overall, I'll be giving his loadout a 6 out of 10. It's probably the worst part of Kaid, but considering that everything else about him is probably the best in the game, it makes sense why his loadout wouldn't be that strong. Now to answer the question you clicked on this video for, who is the best Waldenau operator? Well, to start out at the number 3 spot, we have a tie between Mute and Bandit, with them both having a score of 34. This is the first time I have had a complete tie in one of these videos, but I do think it is justified here. Bandit has the superior gadget and secondary gadget selection, while Mute has the superior loadout and better versatility. Now obviously this means that Kaid is in first place and his score is 36, meaning that he takes the crown over Mute and Bandit by 2 points. I think Kaid's gadget is one of the best on the defensive side in the game right now, and that is really what carries him to this spot along with his perfect secondary gadgets. His only downside is his loadout, which is why he isn't scored at a perfect 40 out of 40, but if his loadout ever gets any buffs, he could definitely reach that point. Keep in mind, this video is just simply my opinion. If you feel differently about how I scored the operators in this video, let me know in the comments down below. Or if you want to take the conversation even further, you can go and follow me on Twitter. I post a lot of my opinions related to Siege and other gaming topics over there, and I'd love to hear from you. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, I appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 4K subs and we are getting extremely close to that goal. If I haven't earned your sub yet though, that is totally fine. You can go and watch this video and hopefully it will change your mind. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.